In the early hours of September 24, 2016, a young man enters the view of a surveillance camera, looks back twice, walks to the right, and is never seen again. What follows is one of the largest and most expensive searches and investigations in recent British history to find Corrie McKeague, a 23-year-old airman with the British Air Force. But what happened to Corrie? How could a young man enter a residential area and then never be seen again? And most importantly, where is he now? This bizarre case has garnered unprecedented attention on the internet, with hundreds of YouTube videos and forum threads busy trying to figure out what exactly might have happened to him on that fateful night. This unreal interest in the case generated hundreds of questions with as many theories but no real answers. From a bizarre disappearance that defies all logic to shady witnesses that refuse to come forward, this case has it all. In today's video, we're gonna look deeper at the strange disappearance of Corrie McKeague. Corrie McKeague was born in Perth, Scotland in September 1993 and raised in Cupar before moving to Dunfermline at the age of 9 following his parents' divorce. At the time of his disappearance, Corrie was a 23-year-old airman at the Royal Air Base Huntington in Suffolk, England, near the town of Bury St Edmunds, about 100 miles northeast of London. On the night of September 23, 2016, Corrie was out drinking with his friends in Bury St Edmunds, a small town that's popular with RAF servicemen, located not far from the base and about 100 miles northeast of London. He had driven himself into town with the intention of leaving his car overnight. While having fun and enjoying the nightlife, he got separated from his friends in the early hours of September 24th after getting kicked out of the Flex nightclub for being too drunk. After that, he was sighted at Mamma Mia's restaurant, his usual takeaway spot, between the hours of 1:15 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. His last known sighting was on one of the CCTV cameras at 3:25 a.m. at Brangowell Street, known as the Horseshoe area, because when viewed from above, the area is surrounded by houses with no other entry-exit points other than the one from where he entered. Now let's carefully reconstruct the events from that night. At 10 p.m. he leaves the Royal Air Force Base in his BMW Z4. At 10:10 p.m. he parks his car on Robert Bobby Way and then he calls his brother. At 10:50 p.m. he joins his friends at Soul Bar. At 11:30 p.m. he walks to the Wetherspoons Corn Exchange. At 12:30 a.m. he arrives at the Flex nightclub. At 1 a.m. after getting kicked out of Flex, he orders takeaway at Mamma Mia. At 1:20 a.m. he is seen on CCTV camera passing Grape's pub and then sitting in the doorway of an electrical store, Hughes. He eats his meal and falls asleep. At 3 a.m. he sends a text message to a friend. At 3:25 a.m. he is seen on CCTV camera turning into the Horseshoe area. From 3:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. mobile phone data shows him in the vicinity of Barton Mills, traveling at a speed consistent with being in a vehicle. At 8 a.m. his phone stops transmitting. When the police launched their investigation, one of the first things they did was track his phone's movement. On the morning of Corrie's disappearance, his Nokia Lumia phone had moved from Bury St Edmunds to Barton Mills, about 12 miles to the northwest, along the corridor of the A1101 road. Phone data indicated that this journey took 28 minutes, which meant that it couldn't have been completed by someone walking on foot. The mobile phone was either switched off at 8 a.m., ran out of battery, or was damaged. It was never recovered. Initially, the police had a theory that he may have been carried to a landfill by one of the garbage trucks, but it was later discovered that the weight of the garbage bin was only 33 pounds, which couldn't have contained Corrie, who weighed around 190 pounds. Next, the focus of the investigation shifted to whether someone gave him a lift to the base or not. Police also initially thought that he planned to walk back to his RAF base, which is located some 10 miles northeast of the town along minor unclassified roads. However, his mother, Nicola, said that her son had never walked to his Air Force base on previous occasions. The only thing he did was get food and sleep for a bit and then drive back to the base in the morning. So what really happened to Corrie? How did he disappear? The first theory was that Corrie tried to walk back to his airbase, but either got lost somewhere. On CCTV he is barely walking because of how drunk he is, or there was an altercation with a third party. However, as I've mentioned earlier, his mom was adamant that he'd never do such a thing. That means that if we take his mom's words and his past actions, him walking back to the base would be highly unlikely. Right now, let's pay closer attention to the horseshoe area where Corrie was last seen by one of the CCTV cameras. This particular area is surrounded by a number of cameras, some belonging to the city, others owned by private parties. And because several of those cameras cover various roads that lead to the entrance of the horseshoe area, it's virtually impossible to enter or leave the cul-de-sac without being captured by at least one of them. Let's think for a moment about what he was doing there. Was he trying to escape from someone that was following him? Or was he simply tired and wanted to take a break, perhaps sleep it off, sober up, and then grab his car and head back to the base? Regardless of the real reason, at 3:25 a.m. he enters the cul-de-sac but never leaves. From 3:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. his phone is showing him moving from the cul-de-sac area to the Barton Mills landfill, which means someone either drove him there or he fell into a garbage bin and was transferred there by a garbage truck that picked up the bin at 4 a.m. in the morning. Now at this point you may be thinking that I initially told you that this wasn't possible because the garbage bin's weight was only 33 pounds. So how is it possible to transport a human being who weighed 190 pounds? That is correct. Initially BIFA, the garbage collection and disposal company that was responsible for disposing the trash in that area, told the investigators that the bin only weighed 33 pounds. But 6 months later, in March of 2017, police had discovered that the lorry had a significantly larger weight, more than 212 pounds. This gave more weight to the theory that Corrie was indeed transported to the landfill by the truck. Now that we have a strong theory that Corrie was indeed transferred to the landfill, the question becomes, how did Corrie end up in the bin? Was he trying to hide from people who may have been following him? Did he try to escape the cul-de-sac, but while trying to climb over the fence inadvertently fell into the garbage bin? Or maybe something more nefarious happened? One plausible theory is that Corrie was sleeping next to one of these bins and was accidentally run over by the truck. Once the driver realized this, he covered up the crime by loading Corrie's body into the truck and then transporting him to the landfill. Indeed, in the past several years, there have been many stories in Britain of people getting very drunk and ending up falling into such garbage bins. The police got a hold of the same truck that was transporting the garbage that night, but couldn't detect anything out of the ordinary. They even arrested a person of interest who was also based in the same airbase. In February of 2017, police launched a massive search at the landfill where Corrie's mobile phone pinged. The search was planned to cover 1,100 square yards to a depth of 25 feet and was expected to take 10 weeks. By May 2017, it was revealed that the search had cost Suffolk police £1 million and that it may take longer than the estimated 10 weeks. By June, the police noted that they were finding items from the right time at the site. However, in July of 2017, around 20 weeks after they commenced their search, police announced that they would be ending their search because they haven't found anything of value. Between February and July of 2017, police sifted over 7,200 tons of waste at the landfill. They also searched at the final waste incineration site, but didn't find anything of value either. In October of 2017, they began another search, this time at a nearby landfill site, and by March 2018, they also ended the search because nothing of value to the investigation was found. In late 2017, police released new CCTV footage of people of interest that might have had contact with Corrie that night. 4 of them were other men that may have been out with Corrie, while other people of interest were captured on the CCTV around the same time and place where Corrie was seen for the very last time. Unfortunately, neither of these leads were able to add much to the investigation. At the time of this video's recording, it's been almost 5 years since Corrie's disappearance. Police have established a working theory, interviewed hundreds of possible witnesses or other persons of interest, and have painstakingly searched a huge landfill for any possible remains. All in all, the police sifted over 9,000 tons of waste, closely analyzed over 2,000 hours of CCTV footage, and spent over 2.1 million pounds of the city's money. Unfortunately, nothing really useful came from it. And how could that be? If he didn't try to go back to the base, then what was he really doing at that horseshoe area? Did he have a prearranged meeting with someone there and then something went wrong? What do you think? Do you think this is a sad case of having one too many drinks and then falling into the trash bin? Or is this something more nefarious? I'd love to hear your opinions below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please support this channel by giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment. And if you want to see more videos such as this one, please consider subscribing.